Pero sa Pilipinas po, kailangan natin linawin ang ating target. When we passed this, it was because of pressure na sa Europe, sa US, and most other countries have K-12, pero nagbabago na po talaga. Ang Vietnam na unahan na tayo. Even then, there were 2 or 3 countries who had better systems than the rest of the world, pero K-10 sila. Yes, let's do everything we can, better budget for 2027, full implementation 2026, 10-year plan. But sooner or later, hindi natin pwedeng hindi pag-usapan. K-11 ba muna tayo? K-12 muna? K-12, K-11, K-10? Or fully funding it?
Wala ho tayong mahabang pag-usapan ngayon kung isa ho kayo sa sumusuporta dito kay Sen. Alan Cayetano para ho din sa inyo ang video na ito dahil dito mga kapatid sumabog siya. Gusto niya nga ho na itong ating gobyerno bigyan naman ng tuon o pagtuunan ng pansin itong edukasyon ng mga kabataan dahil alam na ho natin mga kapatid na ayaw ng gobyerno ni Ngagba na may magkaroon ng maraming matatalino. Bakit ho? Kasi nga pagdating ng eleksyon, sino ba'y nakakaawa? Yung mga tatakbong mapanlamang ho sa kanilang kapwa, yung mga magnanakaw. Kaya hanggat maaari mga kapatid, ginagawan ho nila ng paraan para hindi makapag-aral ng maayos yung kabataan dahil nakikita nila sa darating na future mga kapatid, bagsak ho lahat sila. Dito mga kapatid, wala ho tayong paligoy-ligoy dito. Kung bago lang ho kasi sa ating channel, isang like, isang share, isang subscribe lamang ho, malaking tulong na ho yan. Sabay-sabay ho tayong magkomento, mag-react dito sa naging debate dyan sa Senado kung saan ay nagkapalitan na ho ng sagot itong mga senador. Kaya nga di, direkta na ho tayo.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise today to sponsor Senate Concurrent Resolution number 09, co-signed by Senator Joel Villanueva, which seeks to adopt the National Education and Workforce Development Plan for 2026 to 2035, together with the recommendations of the Second Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM-2, as a 10-year policy framework of the national government. This resolution is born out of a simple but difficult truth. The challenges facing Philippine education are systemic, long-standing, and deeply intertwined with our workforce outcomes, our productivity, our national competitiveness. They cannot be solved by piecemeal reforms nor by policies that reset every election cycle. For the past 3 years, EDCOM-2 has undertaken an exhaustive, evidence-based diagnosis of our education system, from early childhood to tertiary education and technical vocational training. Its work has been grounded in research, consultation, and rigorous policy analysis. The result is a clear diagnosis and, more importantly, a coherent roadmap for reform. What this resolution proposes is not new bureaucracy, not automatic spending mandates, not executive micromanagement. What it proposes is policy discipline. By adopting a 10-year National Education and Workforce Development Plan, Congress is asserting continuity. We are saying that education reform must outlast administrations, align agencies, and be sustained across budget cycles. In the same way that fiscal policy is guided by a medium-term framework, education reform must be anchored on a long-term evidence-based plan. The resolution identifies priority areas for reform, among them early childhood development, classroom congestion, learning recovery, teacher support, digital connectivity, stronger school-to-employment pathways, and closer alignment between education and labor market needs. These priorities are not aspirational slogans. They are grounded in data, shaped by experience, responsive to the realities faced daily by our learners and teachers. Equally important, this resolution recognizes the role of Congress beyond legislation. It explicitly anchors this plan as a guide for our legislative agenda, budget deliberations, appropriations, and oversight functions. It urges the executive branch to align policies and programs accordingly, while fully respecting institutional mandates and fiscal sustainability. In short, this resolution affirms that education reform is not the responsibility of one agency alone, nor of one sector or one administration. It is a whole of government and whole of nation commitment that demands consistency, coordination, accountability over the long term. This is a moment for the Senate to lead with foresight. By adopting this resolution, we are not merely endorsing a report, we are committing to a decade of deliberate, evidence-based reform that places our learners, our teachers, the future workforce at the center of national development. I respectfully, therefore, urge the adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution number 09. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, may we recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Senator
Also
Joel
co-sponsored.
Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished Majority Leader. Mr. President, dear colleagues, education reform demands long-term vision. Its results are not immediate, but enduring. As the saying goes, great men plant trees whose shade they will never enjoy. This resolution reflects that kind of leadership, that one that looks beyond political cycles and commits to continuity and coherence in policy. And that is why we rise today, Mr. President, in support of this resolution, which we filed together with our dear colleague, Senator Loren Legarda, adopting the National Education and Workforce Development Plan and the recommendations of the Second Congressional Commission on Education as the 10-year policy framework of the national government. The National Education and Workforce Development Plan to 2026 to 2035 provides a clear and strategic roadmap to address the country's learning crisis, anchored on concrete and measurable goals. It sets ambitious targets, Mr. President, such as achieving 95% proficiency in basic reading by grade 3 and improving grade 12 learning outcomes toward 90% proficiency by 2035. It calls for strengthening foundational learning, expanding access to early childhood education, ending mass promotion, and aligning education with workforce needs so that our learners are not only educated, but truly prepared for work and life. By anchoring national education and workforce reforms on EDCOM2's evidence-based recommendations, Mr. President, dear colleagues, we invest not for ourselves, but for future generations. Mr. President, dear colleagues, ito po ay para sa pagpapataas ng antas ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po and may God bless us all.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, next to co-sponsor the measure is our distinguished colleague, Senator Win Gatchalian.
An objection, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Good afternoon, colleagues. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise today to co-sponsor and express my full support for Senate Concurrent Resolution number 8. The work of the Second Congressional Commission on Education is not only a testament to a passion for education, but also to rigor, the value of empirical research and data-driven decision-making. Despite many well-intentioned reforms in the past, our education sector has suffered from conflicting policies and programs that don't last beyond a single administration. Without a clear long-term policy framework, initiatives risk being diluted before the country feels their full impact. In this regard, EDCOM2's body of work speaks for itself. Over the course of 3 years, the Commission has diagnosed the deepest systemic problems affecting the education sector, and their work has been pivotal in the creation of landmark legislation. Some notable examples are the Early Childhood Care and Development Systems Act, as well as the Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program and the Lifelong Learning Development Framework Act, both of which expand the philosophy, scope, and opportunities for learning beyond college and promote the acquisition of skills and knowledge well into adult life. EDCOM2 also endorsed the Basic Education, Mental Health, and Well-Being Promotions Act and the Academic Recovery and Accessible Learning Program Act as a way of strengthening the foundational learning. These examples show that EDCOM2's work touches the entire spectrum of learners and learning environments. EDCOM2 recently launched its final report, and within it is the National Education Workforce Development Plan. It contains 20 priority recommendations designed to address the nation's learning crisis. It is backed by rigorous study, concrete performance targets, and incremental investments in education over the course of the next decade. I fully support the call to make the National Education and Workforce Development Plan, as well as the recommendations of the Second Congressional Commission on Education, as the 10-year policy framework of the national government. Not only are its findings comprehensive and data-driven, but the Commission's work has a track record of success. The ARAL program, for example, has yielded some early wins. Malanday Elementary School in Marikina City, learners in Key Stage 1, grades 1 to grades 3, showed significant improvements in reading, math, and science. Learners' performance improved from 57.26% at the start of the year to 94.03% by the middle of the year, an increase of almost 37%. In the 2026 national budget, the ARAL program received 8.9 billion pesos in funding. Isa ito sa mga bagay na ipinaglaban natin sa ating makasaysayang budget sa edukasyon. Early this month, the Department of Education reported that reading readiness scores of more than 3 million learners in grades 3 to 6 improved by approximately 5 points. The scores of learners in grades 7 to 10 increased by 6 points, improving the proficiency of 1.72 million learners. Gains like this must be sustained over time and complemented by reforms in policy design so that problems are given paramount solutions. The National Education and Workforce Development Plan is precisely that framework. Before I end, I would like to thank my fellow senators for all their hard work and support, in particular Senator Bam Aquino, Chairperson of Senate Committee on Education. Let us continue to work together so that no learner is left behind. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Robin Gatchalian. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, may we also recognize the distinguished colleague, Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, to co-sponsor the measure.
Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to co-sponsor Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 8, which seeks to adopt the National Education and Workforce Development Plan 2026 to 2035 as the 10-year policy framework of the national government based on the findings and recommendations of EDCOM 2. Ang dokumentong ito ay kolektibong pag-amin na kumbagay nanghihingalo na ang ating sistema ng edukasyon at kailangan na nating kolektibong manindigan na ibangon at ayusin ito. Kinukumpirma ng EDCOM 2 ang mga matagal ng problema ng ating sistema sa edukasyon. Punong-puno ang mga classroom. Pagod na pagod ang mga teacher at mga estudyante pumapasa kahit halos walang natututunan. Malinaw ang sinasabi ng resolusyon. Dapat nang isalba ang naghihingalong sektor ng edukasyon. Batayan ng kinabukasan ng buong bansa ang edukasyon. Kapag hindi nakakabasa ang batang nasa grade 3 o hindi makagawa ng basic math ang nasa high school, sinusumpa natin sa pagkakakulelat ang ating mga anak at ang ating bansa. Bawat taon na pinatatagal ang reforma, sinusumpa natin ang ating mga kabataan sa isang kinabukasang mahirap ang trabaho, mababa ang sweldo o kita. Sinusumpa na rin nating maiiwan tayo ng mas maunlad nating mga karatig bansa. Ginagawang mandato ng EDCOM 2 ang mga ebidensya. Mahihinang pundasyon sa mga unang taon ng ating mga mag-aaral, kulang-kulang na suporta sa ating mga guro, at isang sistemang ginagantimpalaan ang pagsunod sa alituntunin, hindi ang actual learning o pagkatuto. Sa ating pagpapatibay ng resolusyong ito, sinasabi nating nakikinig tayo sa ebidensya at tinatanggap natin ang responsibilidad sa pag-ayos ng sistema. Hindi lang sisihan. lumilikha ang resolusyong ito ng pangmatagalang roadmap na hindi lang nalilimita sa isang administrasyon o pangulo, kalihim o mambabatas. Tatagal ng isang dekada ang mga mungkahing reforma sa edukasyon. At inaangkla natin ang mga reforma sa isang malinaw, time-bound na plano sa pagpapatibay ng parehong kapulungan ng Kongreso. Binibigyan natin ang buong sistema ng pagkakataong lumaban kahit mag-iba-iba pa ang hangin ng politika, ika nga. Tapos na ang trabaho ng EDCOM 2, umpisa na ang trabaho natin. Itutugma na natin ang mga pangako sa ilalaang budget. Ipapatupad na natin ang mga batas na magbabangon at magpapatibay ng ating sistemang edukasyon. Naumpisahan na natin ang mga sumusunod. Mas mataas na puhunan para sa early childhood nutrition, lalo na sa first 1,000 days ng ating mga mag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng school-based feeding program at supplemental feeding program. Ang madali ang pagtugon sa mga backlog sa classroom at kasikipan ng mga paaralan sa pamamagitan ng public-private partnerships at yung classroom acceleration program. At ang pagtaas hanggang 4% ng GDP ang budget para sa edukasyon. Marami pang reforma ang kailangan ma-institutionalize, pero tagos sa lahat ng mga mungkahing ito ang paglinis sa burokrasyang literal na ninanakaw ang pondong nakalaan para sa ating mga mag-aaral at mga guro. Ninanakaw ang kinabukasan ng bawat isa sa atin. Ninanakaw ang kinabukasan ng Pilipinas. Sa pamamagitan ng ating sama-samang pagkilos, walang problema na hindi natin maaring malagpasan. Salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Salamat, mga kasama. Magandang hapon sa kanilang lahat.
Thank you, Senator Pangilinan. Majority Leader.
Sure. Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We'd like to recognize Senator Pia Cayetano also to co-sponsor the measure, and after which the Minority Leader as well would like to...
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to manifest my support for Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 8, or the Concurrent Resolution adopting the National Education and Workforce Development Plan 2026 to 2035 and recommendations of the Second Congressional Commission on Education as the 10-year policy framework of the national government. As a background, this representation as chairperson of the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovations, Futures Thinking, had hearings and later filed a committee report in the 18th Congress entitled The Future of Education. This report recognized that leaders in futures thinking had already foreseen the challenges brought about by the COVID pandemic. It also noted the reality that students have different skills and learning abilities. The committee report sought to provide direction and foresight to ensure the flexibility and responsiveness of the country's education system, especially due to volatilities, uncertainties, complexities, and ambiguities of the future, and allow learners to adapt to new careers and skills required for the future. The National Education and Workforce Development Plan is anchored on the fact that success in the 21st century is no longer defined by a single degree or fixed career path. It recognizes a simple but powerful reality. We can no longer plan education jobs based only on the past or even the present. We must plan for the future. What our people need are transferable skills such as critical thinking, digital literacy, problem solving, creativity, collaboration, and adaptability, which allows them to thrive amid constant change. We must ensure that our education system deliberately develops these skills so Filipinos are not only employable today, but resilient and competitive in the future of work. I strongly support this plan because it acknowledges that technical skills alone are no longer enough. Workers must be able to learn continuously, shift careers when needed, and apply existing knowledge in new contexts. That is why emphasis on lifelong learning, reskilling, and upskilling is so crucial. Equally important is the focus on coordination across agencies such as DepEd, TESDA, and CHED towards a shared vision for Philippine education. Among the priority reforms identified in the EDCOM 2 final report, which I have consistently supported as Vice Chair for Finance handling the budget of the Department of Education and its attached agencies for 6 years, include the following: early childhood nutrition, training and capacity building of child development workers and child development teachers, access of early childhood education, procurement of textbook, address classroom backlog and congestions in schools, expansion of programs for learners with disabilities, and support for teachers and professional in inclusive education. To conclude, this is about future-proofing our people, ensuring that Filipinos are not left behind as industries evolve and new forms of work emerge. Taken together, these reforms underscore a clear and consistent message. The foundation of a future-ready workforce begins early, as strengthened in our schools, and are sustained through inclusive and responsive education systems. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Pia Cayetano, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we recognize the distinguished minority floor leader, Senator Alan Cayetano, Mr. President.
In objection, the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano,
Good
is
afternoon,
recognized.
Mr. President. Mr. President, magandang hapon. Mr. President, ang topic natin napakaganda, education, isang topic na I think nagkakaisa tayong lahat. But like many things, yung approach. So may I just put on record my personal approach. The first book I believe in is, of course, the Bible. And the Bible tells us that each and every one of us is made in the image and nature of God. Ibig sabihin ko, anong DNA ng Panginoon? Yun din ang DNA natin. Therefore, learning, continuous learning, improvement of oneself is one of the most important aspects of being human.
Tama.
Being God's children. The Bible is a book of power and principle. Ang principle, kung anong ating itatanim, yun ang ating aanihin. So hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, kukunti ang ating itatanim sa edukasyon, tapos malaki aanihin natin. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, mangga itatanim natin, santo lang ating ang magiging bunga. In that area, Mr.
Ayan, tingnan nyo ho mga ka-update. Pagmasdan ho ninyo, itong mga edukasyon, mga classroom, hindi ho na bibigyan ng tuon ng pansin. Saan ho sila nakapokus yung mga flood control ho? Diyan ho nakapokus yung mga senador. Diyan ho nakapokus ang mga gobyerno ni Marcos Jr. Pero itong edukasyon para sa mga kabataan, hindi ho nabibigyan ng pansin. Yan ho yung malaking katotohanan kasi ayaw ho nila na merong mga taong matalino, nakakapag-aral, at darating yung araw, mga ka-update, nalalabanan ho sila. Katulad ho ngayon, marami ho, di ba, nagsisibaliktad yung mga NPA, yung mga halos college students bumabaliktad sa gobyerno. Dahil nga rin ho, kasalanan ng gobyerno, nagpapaubaya ho sila, ha? Pinapabayaan ho nila yung edukasyon ng kabataan. Sino ho ba'y nakakaawa? Tayo ho mga ordinaryong Pilipino dahil nga ho, kahit na ano hong gawin nila, puro pagnanakaw lamang ho ang kanilang inaatupag. Buti ba ho itong si Senator Alan Cayetano, mga ka-update, ginagawa niya ho ng solusyon para naman ho sa kinabukasan ng mga Pilipino. Diba? Bigyan naman ng tuon ng pansin ng gobyerno ni Ngagba ang edukasyon. Isipin nyo ho sa isang taon ilang classroom lang napatayo niya, 26. Kahit si Vince Dizon, mga ka-update, hindi siya makapaniwala. Paanong hindi makapaniwala? Amo niya ho yan, di ba?
Mr. President, of course, I recognize the Senate presidency of Senator Soto, of Senator Win Gatchalian, of this whole chamber in may I call it the best education budget since the 1987 Constitution. But of course, we have to be able to judge something based on potential. Potentially, the whole 500 billion na tinanggal sa DPWH ay pwedeng nilagay sa education. But of course, that's not the call of just this chamber nor Senator Gatchalian. Diba? It's the call of House, Senate, the persuasive power of media, of Malacanang. So we're not pointing fingers, but we're also part of the decisions we make. Diba? The decisions we made the last 30 years. Every decision we make, may mabuti, may masama. So when President Cory decided na libre na ang high school, it was a beautiful decision. It was a wonderful decision. But we couldn't afford it at the time. Pero sabi niya, since maganda, gawin natin. So doon nagsimula yung mass promotion. So marami nga doon na grade 6, hindi pa marunong magbasa, pinasa sa first year, so forth, di ba? Finally, nung panahon ni President Pinoy, humabol tayo. Hindi exactly, but almost sapat na yung mga classroom. And he made another beautiful decision, which is, dagdagan ng K muna. Wala daw K yung education natin. K as in kindergarten. No? Ang problema, being married to a mayor, we didn't have the classrooms. So, yung classrooms ng grade 1, 2, and then nag-rush ng classrooms. So, doon pa lang nakita na natin may problema. K pa lang dinagdag natin, hindi pa yung 2, problematic na. But the persuasive powers of Senator Ed Angara, of Brother Armin, of course, the President Pinoy oozing with sincerity na maayos ito, persuaded us that they will put the money and make it available. Senator Recto, who is now ES, told us that's 250 billion from the pocket of students and parents and 250 billion from the pockets of government every year. Until the pandemic, medyo na-survive natin yan. In fact, when Senator Coco and Senator Soto was also, Senator Coco was, and of course Senator Soto was Senate President noon, may discussion di ba, kung i-abolish yung K-12. But our secretary noon was against it na persuade si President Duterte na wag. And in fact, na-persuade pa nga siya na free na rin yung college. At least scholarship sa mga state universities. So,
Ayan mga kabdit, narinig naman ho natin na si Tatay Digong nung kapanahunan niya ho mga estudyante ho, nakikinabang din ho sa kanyang pamumuno. Libre ho yung eskwela. Sa mga private school, siyempre mga kabdit may bayad ho yan, pero may scholarship ho na ibibigay. Pero sa panahon ho ngayon mga kabdit, hindi ho nabibigyan ng pansin yung mga estudyante, hindi ho nabibigyan. Kitang-kita naman ho natin, ito talagang administrasyon ni Marcos Jr. pinakamasahol ho sa lahat ng mga naging presidente. Lalampasan pa ho niya yung kanyang amang diktador dahil nga grabe ho mga kabdit ang pagnanakaw ho nila. Sunod-sunod ho yung issue nila mga kabdit. Ito di ba nagkasakit siya sa bituka, diverculitis. Tapos may panibagong video na naman siya. Alam niyo na ho yun yung gumagamit ho siya. Tapos iskandal. Sino hong hindi man didire na ganyan yung presidente ng Pilipinas? Di ba, masahol ho siya, mga kabdit. Hindi ho malayo, nadadaigin niya ho yung tatay niyang diktador.
in terms of intention, Mr. President, I do not doubt the intention of all of these authors of EDCOM, Senator Lawrence sa Higher Ed and Technical Ed, Senator Bam sa Basic Ed, Secretary Sani, President Marcos. Lahat yan maganda intensyon. But I'll go to the second book, the Constitution. We complied substantially with the Constitution na highest ang education. In DepEd alone, pag dinagdag mo pa yung higher ed, yung local governments, yung paggasto sa malaki talaga. But Mr. President, I rise today to put this on record. Maganda yan 10-year plan, I support it. Maganda po ang findings ng EDCOM 2, yung first, second, and third publication. But the big elephant in the room, until we decide to either fully fund it, and it will take hundreds of billions. Or. So either yakapin natin yung K-12 ng buong buo at ilagay natin yung additional few hundred billions plus the effort needed, or we make K-11 or K-10 muna. Habang we are halfway, half-hearted, I think, I don't want to use, Mr. President, I don't want.
Ito hong sinasabi nito si Sen. Alan Cayetano mga ka-update, na short ho kasi tayo sa budget kasi nga ho, halos lahat ho ng pondo ng gobyerno, lahat ho ng binabayad natin sa tax, nahapunta ho halos lahat mga ka-update. Saan? Sa flood control issue. Kaya yung edukasyon nga nawang kabataan, saan ho mga ka-update? Ngangaho tayo. Nakangangaho tayo mga ka-update. Sinasabi na libre lang mangarap. Sinungaling ho yan. Diba? Sinungaling ho na, libre lang mangarap. Libre mangarap. May bayad na nga ngayon. Di ba? Paano pa ho magiging libre yung pangarap mo kung every semester, ang laki ho ng binabayaran ng mga estudyante? Di ba? Nakakaawa ho yung mga saktong-sakto lang kung kumakain ng 2 beses o 3 beses sa isang araw. Paano ho sila? Paano ho yung mga kabataan na gustong makapagtapos pero nahihirapan dahil nga walang pondo yung edukasyon ng mga kabataan? Napunta ho lahat saan? Sa flood control. Di ba? Ganyan ho kawalang hiya itong si Ngagba. Di ba?
Wanna use half-hearted kasi tumotodo naman tayo eh. But ang punto ko po, kung hanggang 100 kilometers ang takbo ng kotse at kaya natin mag 100 kilometers, no one can say na half-hearted tayo. Pero kung hanggang 200 kilometers ang takbo ng kotse at sabihin natin, boss, hanggang 120 lang kaya natin, yung 80 hindi. Yung potential na 80, half-hearted.
Tama!
So we're not half-hearted not because we're not putting everything we can, but because the system that the world has imposed upon us, when we passed this, it was because of pressure na sa Europe, sa US, and most other countries have K-12, pero nagbabago na po talaga. Ang Vietnam na unahan na tayo. Even then, there were 2 or 3 countries who had better systems than the rest of the world, pero K-10 sila. So, Mr. President, may I just put that at the doorstep or at the feet of our honorable senators and decision makers. Yes, let's do everything we can. Better budget for 2027, full implementation 2026, 10-year plan. But sooner or later, hindi natin pwedeng hindi pag-usapan. K-11 ba muna tayo? K-12 muna? K-12, K-11, K-10? Or fully funding it? Yung 10-year plan na yan is based on present situations, present economic situation, world standards, value ng ating peso, dollar, simento, time, effort, and even the attention span of children. Remember, nung lumabas tong problema na to ng reading 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. Hindi ito totoong R, pero yun ang tawag ng bata tayo, SP, di ba? Reading, writing, arithmetic. Wala ka pang social media. So ang sabi lang nila alam nyo, pare, may konting pastor, konting influence. Parents, malaki influence. Barkada, mas malaking influence. At TV ang may influence. Mr. President, the reality is most in highly urbanized cities, half day ang pasok. Half day ang pasok. Ang biggest influence ngayon po ay yung screen ng kanyang cellphone. And unfortunately, most of the time, it is not educational. So, Mr. President, until we have classes that are 7 to 3 or 8 to 4, and until our schools have basketball courts, volleyball courts, chess tournaments, debate club, ballet, martial arts, i-accelerate natin paggawa ng classroom. Walang lupa So every classroom na itatayo mo, meron mawawala na track and field or na covered court or magigiba ka ng 4-story to make a 10-story. Pero in the meantime, lalong lumala kasi yung 4-story. Maraming cities, wala ng lupa na mabili or it takes so long para magkaroon ng bagong classroom. So kung tatanungin tayo ngayon, effort, AAA po tayo. Outstanding po tayo. Lahat ng effort nilalagay natin. Pero let me end this way. Akala ko biro to, pero ginugol ko, totoo talaga. There was this Olympian na ang sinabi sa kanya, hindi niya kailangan ng bullseye. Malapit lang sa bullseye, gold medal na siya. Archery. So nag-target siya, tinignan niya, paused for a minute, binitawan niya, bullseye. Sandali, nagpalakpakan ng tao, biglang tumahimik lahat. Nagtaka siya bakit tumahimik. Tinignan niya, bullseye. Bullseye pala nung katabi niya. Ang tinamaan pala niya, hindi niya bullseye. Doon pala sa target nung katabi niya. Baka naman po yung tinatarget natin K-12 ay target ng Estados Unidos. Target ng Europe. Target ng ibang ng Japan. Pero sa Pilipinas po, kailangan natin linawin ang ating target. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader.
Iyon mga kapatid, tama ho yan yung naging pahayag ni Senator Alan Cayetano na kung hindi pa talaga capable ang ating bansa sa K-12, nakita nyo naman, binibigay ho lahat ng effort pero wala ho. Kulang-kulang ho tayo sa budget kulang-kulang ho sa kagamitan kung ano-ano pa, hindi ho natin pwedeng isiksik yung isang bagay. Katulad ho nito mga ka-update meron tayong iba-ibang isda. Ayan, iba't ibang hayop, uri ng hayop. Merong isda dito, merong unggoy dito. Ayan mga dita. Dalawa. Example lang ho ito. Si unggoy, alam ho natin mga ka-update na nakakakit siya ng puno. Pero itong si isda, isiksik mo na ipilit mo sa kanya na pakyatin mo yung isda sa isang puno. Makakakyat ho ba yung isda mga ka-update? Yan ho yung malaging katanungan. Di ba ho? Hindi. Kumbaga, ganyan ho yung gobyerno ng ating bansa. Yung isang bagay, pinipilit ho nila kahit hindi ho capable o hindi pa ho pwedeng gawin. Di ba? Yan ho kasi pinipilit ng gobyerno ni Marcos Jr. Kaya mga ka-update, kung meron kayong naging komento o reaction sa ating tinalakay na pag-usapan, sa comment section na lang natin ituloy. Kaya dito na ho natin tatapusin ng ating reaction video.